Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be looking at spectralism. Music that listens to itself, you could say. I don't know, that's such a pretentious thing to say. Why did I write that? What if music didn't begin with notes, as you would normally expect it to, but with sound itself? Pitch, frequencies. Not melody, not harmony, not even rhythm really, but the inner life of a single note. No, the inner life of a single tone. It's not just a note. A note to me would imply the rhythm and the pitch together. It's all semantics though. How do you talk about music? So inside every note, there's a hidden architecture. I'm calling it note now. This architecture is like a spectrum of frequencies vibrating in complex relationships. For centuries, composers, it's not that they treated it as invisible, they just didn't regard it as intensely as the spectralists did. Although I would say that composers could hear it. Like when I played the organ, I was taught to play a note, listen to a note and hear the harmonic spectrum. Like hear the third, the fifth, the octave. So I'm sure organists would have known about this. I'm sure Bach would have known about this. It's not that they ignored it or treated it as invisible, it's just it didn't seem to be a prominent part of their music. Not like it was with spectralism. But with spectralism ignored every other parameter of music, it seemed, and just focused solely on that harmonic frequency. So in the late 20th century, a group of composers did something radical, potentially avant-garde. It was avant-garde at the time. It was radical at the time. They listened inside the note, that pitch, that harmonic frequency, that harmonic spectrum, and they built music from what they found there. Not from Western tonal harmony and counterpoint, not from modes, not from whole tone scales, not from pentatonic scales. They focused on a single pitch and listened to it vibrate and listened to its individual frequencies and composed from that. This is spectralism. What is spectralism? Spectralism is a compositional approach that uses the acoustic properties of sound itself as the foundation of music, or the foundation for the music. Instead of starting with scales or chords, spectral composers analyse the harmonic spectrum of a sound. Here's the idea. Take a single note. It's not just one frequency. You may think it's just one frequency, but it's not if you listen really closely. It's made of many frequencies. We call these overtones. These overtones form a natural structure known as the harmonic series. Now here's the shift that these composers focused on. Instead of imposing harmony onto sound, spectralism lets sound generate the harmony. One of the most famous examples is Partielle by Gerard Grisi. Grisi analysed the spectrum of a low trombone note and orchestrated the overtones across the ensemble. So what you hear isn't written harmony in the traditional sense, it's the inside of a sound, unfolded throughout time. Music becomes less like architecture, less like, how can I explain this? It becomes less like consciously constructed architecture and more like crystallization. They find the harmonies and then they set it in stone across time. Historical context now. Spectralism emerged in 1970s France. French explore harmony in interesting ways. I've thought about this, like even with Debussy and the first sort of whole tone scale and exploring sound slightly differently at the time. There's somebody else, Ravel, got interesting harmonies. It seems to me that the French composers like to focus on harmony as a prominent parameter in music, so it's no surprise to me that spectralism emerged from France. It's just something I've noticed. Anyway, spectralism emerged in 1970s France. At the time, European avant-garde music was dominated by serialism. Serialism, compared to spectralism, is highly structured, mathematically organised, systematic. It organises different parameters like pitch, rhythm, in a very systematic, mathematical way. Composers like Pierre Boulez pushed control to its limits. So how much can you control? Can you control every single aspect of each parameter? Is it any different from Western tonal harmony and counterpoint? Probably not. It's just a different way of controlling it. But for some young composers, something felt missing. The music was precise. It described sound, but it didn't always inhabit it, not like spectralism does. Spectral composers, including Gerard Grisi and Tristan Murail, wanted to return to listening. So kind of similar to how minimalism approached the minuscule and the complexity of it, spectralism went even further and explored frequencies themselves. Gerard Grisi and Tristan Murail wanted to return to listening, not to abandon science or maths or anything like that, but to use it differently. So instead of abstract systems that were applied to sound as a means to control chaos and noise, like serialism, they used acoustics, psychoacoustics, and perception. So it's subjective in a sense. Technology played a key role here as well. Institutions like IRCAM, it's the Institut de Recherche et Coordination Acoustique Musique, Institute for Research and Coordination in Acoustics, /music. Institutions like IRCAM allowed composers to analyse sound using computers, so spectralism sits at a fascinating intersection. Ancient physics of sound, modern technology, and a deeply human desire to hear more deeply. Deeply. The human desire to hear more deeply. The philosophy now. Spectralism asks this philosophical question. The philosophical question is as follows. What if music isn't something we construct, but something we reveal? There's an almost phenomenological thread here. The composer becomes less of a builder and more of a listener, mediator, which I think composition is anyway. To me, when I compose, sometimes if I'm inspired, I feel like I'm not writing music, I just find it. I find the music floating in the ether. It's written despite me. However, you could argue that serialism is a very constructed, architectural, forced. The composer is building something here, whereas spectralism relies more on the composer being a listener and a mediator to hear the sound. It's given to the composer, and the composer has to work with that. So sound is treated as a living process, something that evolves, decays, transforms. Picture a sound envelope. Time becomes fluid in the sense that it's unpredictable. Things have to unfold over time. You can't really dissect it as you would do with traditional classical music. Even the score, it's dissected into bars, isn't it? We just narrate time, we chop it up into different parts and we compose inside these different blocks of time. Spectralism doesn't do that. You get gradual transformation in spectralism, similar to minimalism, except it abandons this measurement of time even more so than minimalism does. With spectralism, a chord might slowly morph over minutes. A timbre might dissolve into noise. It's music that unfolds like the weather, I guess. There's an element of unpredictability to it, but it is also natural in the sense that it's tied to the laws of physics and the world we live in. It's just like a sound envelope. You explore that sound envelope unfolding over time. Or it's like light shifting across a surface, something like that. So what do you do when you're composing spectralism? Say if you're orchestrating it. Take a sound, analyse its spectrum, assign each partial to instruments. The result is harmony derived from acoustics, not theory. The harmonic series doesn't fit neatly into equal temperament, understandably. So spectral composers use microtones, the pitches between the piano keys. This creates that shimmering, slightly out of tune quality. Although it's not out of tune, because what's it out of tune to? I think they're just exploring an open space of frequency. It can't be out of tune, it's just frequencies, vibrations, sounds. Microtones are involved. Timbre is used as a structural device. Traditionally, timbre is colour, at least in Western classical music. In spectralism, that becomes the form. Changes in tone, colour are the music. That's how it explores its sound. Like a sound envelope could well be the structure of a piece of music. It dictates what happens next and when. Time as transformation. This happens a lot in music. Since 1900s at least, it seems to be more of a conscious thing. I talk about this in the Messiaen lecture. I talk about this in minimalism. I dare say serialism even explores time in this way. But with spectralism, instead of rhythm driving the piece, you get like temporal stretching, like everything evolves gradually. It's like they've drawn out a sound in slow motion across a piece of music. In some works, the orchestra mimics electronic sounds. Acoustic instruments recreate spectra, what you could call spectra. Different spectrals like partials or spectra. The acoustic instruments recreate that, even though those acoustic instruments themselves will have different frequencies that have their own harmonic spectrum. So it's kind of like bringing that minute, minuscule to the fore, kind of expanding it, making it bigger in a way. Here's another example. We have Gondwana by Tristan Murail. Gondwana. How do you pronounce this as well? Gondwana. Another example is Gondwana by Tristan Murail. Here, harmony doesn't move in traditional progressions. Instead, it slides. Masses of sound shift like tectonic plates. You're not following chords, you're inhabiting a sonic landscape. Why it matters. Spectralism changed how composers think about music. It blurred boundaries between pitch and timbre, harmony and timbre, or colour, harmony and colour actually, music and sound itself. So it drew those comparisons, or it saw music in the sound itself. Timbre became more of a structural thing, or a compositional method, exploring timbre as well. It's like a means to compose something. And its influence is everywhere now, from contemporary classical music to film scores to experimental electronic music. Even if you've never heard the term, you've probably heard its echoes in the music that you listen to. To conclude, thank you for watching this little quick overview. I haven't really explained anything robustly. It's kind of like an introduction to spectralism, I guess. But to conclude, spectralism invites us to listen differently. Not just to music, but to the world. Because every sound, a voice, a bell, a passing train, They all contain hidden structures, waiting to be heard. Not necessarily hidden, it's just structures we don't listen to. There's like an orchestra of sound within every sound you hear. It's full of different colours. And then maybe composition isn't about inventing something completely new, but about noticing what was already there and working with that, or drawing attention to that. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. Thanks for listening. It's an interesting topic to explore. I'll hopefully do more on this. Thank you. Bye for now.